I've got a really sore throat, so I'm not going to talk much tonight. Howdy,
That'll be a
all.
change.
This is Kat Ward from Spirit Paranormal and Cat in the Shadows. I've got a really sore throat. I've got a cold, sorry. I'll try not to bark at you as well, Sensei. Yes, welcome everyone on any page that you're on. Welcome to I'll put you on chat as well. I'll put you in full screen. So we're on chat too. So guys, how goes it?
Well, it goes pretty good, I guess, for a what day is it? It's Wednesday. Wednesday.
Hump day.
Well, yeah, it is hump day, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. It's been good here today too. It's been a quite relaxing day. There's been storms rolling in, and we've had solar flares tonight as well, I believe. So we can talk about that too.
Absolutely.
We'll get straight to it because I think we've only got 2 hours, and I know you and I can talk for ages. So yes. I know the dog's been fed, so he's probably asleep, so I won't get you to wake him.
Yeah,
And I believe you brought a guest with you.
I did. He was. Did he? I think I introduced him before on your quick promo there, but I'll just put him on
Yes.
again. Do you want to go on again? Hang on. All right, I'll put you on. Hang on. There he is.
I know a lot of parapsychologists are fans of Ghostbusters. So I mean, Dan Aykroyd was Holtz's grandson. Sorry. Yeah. So it's one of my favorites too. I hate the all-female remake. I'm sorry. It's a bit. Yeah. I'm not a fan.
Didn't do much for me.
No, didn't light my fire at all. Yes. Now, intro. You grew up in England, I believe.
I did. I was born there. I wouldn't say I grew up there. I was born there. And
Yeah.
I was
When did
born
you
at a
move
very
to?
young age too, by the way.
When did
Just
you
sort of throw that in.
When did you move to
Oh,
Holland?
back in the early 70s. So that's showing my age a bit. And I was only a young tacker then too. I would have been, how old would I have been? 9 or 10 or something? Thereabouts.
Well, I wasn't even born yet. I wasn't a twinkle in my daddy's eye yet, as the saying goes. But yes, and did anything happen in any of the homes in England? I think you told me about an incident in a kitchen one time, in a downstairs kitchen somewhere, or was it here in a?
No, that happened here. There was something that, you know what, there's been so many things. I can think of one thing in England when I was a kid, staying at some cousins of mine who were in the north of England. Don't ask me, I can't remember. It's been too long ago. But they lived in a big old mansion or manor house. And, I didn't know anything about ghosts or anything then. But I specifically remember waking up one morning, or during the night actually, because I heard someone calling out, but it was coming from outside. And so I opened the window to have a look, and I looked outside, and it looked like daylight. It's like, hang on, it's nighttime. I know it's nighttime. And the garden, because I was on the second floor, and looking out over the garden looked different. It didn't look the same as it did during the day. And I thought, that's really weird. But I didn't think any more of it. I just thought, maybe I'm dreaming. So that's the earliest vivid recollection I can ever recall of something that just wasn't quite right.
Yeah, I mean, I have childhood recollections as well. I saw the spirit of my mum's cat. She was a black cat called Cinders, and I saw her, but I saw something that frightened the bejesus out of me, and I stopped seeing after that because my adoptive father's grandmother appeared on my wall in the form of a photographic negative. And my bed my face was about 6 inches away from her. And yeah, it frightened the hell out of me. And I stopped seeing, but things go on around here. I mean, this place was used as a billet in the Boer War and the First World War for leaving and returning soldiers. So, it happens in the apartment here too. We have a lovely little apartment upstairs. It's nice and cozy. It has hideous carpet though. Wait till you see it. It's directly from the 60s. I think they were on acid.
No.
Yes. but stuff happens in the apartment here, and now I've got to stop talking. Now,
Well, look, I'll
um,
tell you about the very first incidents I remember here, which actually set me on the path to be an investigator. I think I spoke to you
was
about
that
this
the
once
time
before.
slip? Was that the
Well,
time slip?
yeah, I suppose you could call it a time slip, but it was, but it wasn't. It's hard to explain. Let me just explain it briefly, right? It was back in 1979. I was a 15-year-old delinquent, as you are at 15. I was with a group of mates, and we went out to a national park not far from where we lived, out in the southeastern suburbs, and we were on our BMXs. We went exploring, and we found a track, so we decided to go down this track. Didn't know where we were, but we didn't care. When you're 15, who cares? You just go out and you come back home when you come home. Anyway, we were out there, and we came across this little clearing, and there was an old shack. Like, it was a little old wooden shack. It was just a one-room shack. And I thought, oh, that's old. What's that doing here? And, and being 15-year-old delinquents that we were, we decided, let's go and explore. So we got off the bikes, put the bikes down, and I put my neck down next to a little wrought iron fence. But inside that it was like a little wrought iron garden. It's only, I'd say, probably 8 foot by 8 foot square. But in there was an old cross, right? Back then, you don't think much of that sort of thing. But, okay, maybe someone buried a cat or something. But anyway, we went into this house and we opened the door, walked in, and there was some old newspapers, some crockery, cutlery, all dust everywhere. It was really, really, it hadn't been lived in for God knows how long. And one of my mates said to me, hey, listen, while we're here, let's just trash the joint. Being teenagers, that's what we did for fun. It wasn't fun when you think about it, but that's what we did.
Yeah, boys and girls
So,
now, they all will be
yeah,
young.
so we were about to go and trash it, me included, and then something it was like an epiphany. Something just hit me, and I thought, can't do this. So I said to my mates, listen, let's not trash it, and I got rigged for it. And they said, oh, what's wrong with you? Don't be a wuss, blah, blah, blah. But then I turned and said to them, out of the blue, I said, you know what? We don't have the right to take history away. We just don't have that right. We're not God. It's not enough for us to do that. Self-righteous me, being a delinquent, horrible, nasty whatsoever. And I don't know what it was. I just decided, no, it's not what I want to do. So we left, took off, went back home. And then it was a couple of weeks later, probably a fortnight later, I kept thinking about the place, and I thought, I want to go back. I want to go and have a look and explore it without damaging it. So I called my mates up, they only lived around the corner, said, come on, we'll go on the weekend, we'll go up there again. So we went up there again, we jumped on the track, followed the track, came across a clearing, which was pretty much where the clearing should have been. It was there. And I look over, and yep, there was that little wrought iron fence, and there was a cross there, but the cross is really, really dilapidated big time compared to what it was 2 weeks ago. But we couldn't find the shack. The shack was no longer there. And I'm looking at my mates, and we're like, there was a shack here. Now, when you look where the shack was, it's not like someone had got in there and bulldozed it, because there's no tracks, no nothing. So it was there like 2 weeks ago, and no longer there. So to this day, I have no idea. I don't know where it went. But having said that, I did end up doing a little bit of research, only to find out that those shacks were huts for the Indigenous trackers that they used in the police force up there. It was in the police
Wow.
paddocks,
The
and
black
that's where they
trackers, they
stayed.
called them, didn't they? They called them black
Yeah,
trackers.
they did. Yeah, and they were part of the police force back then, but they were horse, on the horses. They were on patrol, so that was their duty, was to go out there, look after the horses at the stables, jump on the horses, and keep law and order amongst the Indigenous community. They were there for that reason. So, and having done that research, and I thought, well, okay, that makes sense. And there were pictures of it, and it looked exactly the same. So, but to this day, I don't know. I have no idea where it went. It just like disappeared into thin air.
That's one of my favorites, and another one that actually, the first question I want to ask is, did anything happen to any of your family in a unexplained sense of the word? Anything slightly eerie, or
There's
unexplained.
always been eerie things.
It doesn't have to be eerie, but
Well,
I
I
got
remember when.
castle in jail. I didn't find that eerie at all. I took it as a compliment.
No, neither did I. Yeah. One of my dad's sisters passed away many years ago, and him and my mum went back over to England to the funeral, and they went to her funeral, and the family gathered at one of the other sisters' house, and they were remembering her and whatever else. And there were some pictures that my dad was telling me. Now, my dad is a total non-believer. To him, it's not true. It doesn't exist. Ghosts aren't real. Full stop. No matter what you tell him, all he'll just say is, "Ah, bullshit. Doesn't
Very
exist." But
stoic.
anyway, yeah. So, he was telling me that there was some newspapers on the coffee table with a couple of photos of his sister there. And they were standing around talking to her, and he said, and these newspapers and pictures went flying off the table. He goes, there was no wind. They literally got picked up and thrown. And he said, I don't know what happened then. He goes, it didn't make me a believer. He goes, I still didn't believe it. And it's like, well, what more do you want? It doesn't just happen for no reason.
And I mean,
So, yeah, that was something.
That always raises the possibility for me of familial ESP or familial telepathy, because my father's great something or other grandmother was the village seer in a little town in Scotland where they lived. My real father, that is. Yeah, he's long gone now. Yes, and I used to have experiences. My mom did. She was a traditional Victorian spiritualist medium with the cabinet and the spirit trumpet and, the dim red light and the curtains over the cabinet and the male sitters to hold her down if she got violent. But I wasn't really afraid. I had my grandmother and their friends, my mother and my grandmother's friends, and they treated me like I was their granddaughter as well. So, I was just curious. I was most of the time I was perfectly comfortable, because if I got unsettled, they'd comfort me, or I could, hide my head behind a cushion, or, lie on my grandmother's lap or something. But yeah, now.
Well, I've got a million stories, but I'm not going to go into all. I haven't got enough time.
Now, Haunted Australia. First off.
Yes. All right, Haunted Australia. That we finished filming that back in, when was it? 2009, I think it was. We did one season of that. But it was exciting. It was fun doing it. Certainly great fun. There was never any fake evidence or any of that sort of thing. I mean, what you saw is what you got. It was real in real time. And there were a few things that happened that were unexplainable, but to this day, I still don't say 100% that was a ghost.
Yes, I mean, the incident. You can share stuff from Haunted Australia if you want. I think you can share your screen. I can present mine. I think you can share yours. Actually, there should be a share screen option down the bottom that says present, and it's got a little plus symbol on it with a picture of a TV screen.
Yeah,
Emma's here. Hi, Em. Oh, Charmaine says hi too, Gaz.
Hi, Shah. Hi, Em. Ghost Girl. How are you?
Hi, my badass blondie. Yes, there should be a share screen option. Let's see. Slides, share screen. I can't share mine at the moment, I don't think, because I've not logged in.
I haven't got one on mine.
Or anything. Have you got videos or photos or anything like that, or audio?
Yeah, but they're not on this phone though, unfortunately.
Okay, I'll share the screen. Okay, share screen. Okay, I don't have to show these tips again. Share screen. So I've just got to share the audio checkbox. Yes, share. Chrome tab. Hang on 1 second.
Which one are we sharing?
Window maybe. Now we're on a broadcast at the moment, so I've got to try a Chrome tab. I'll just sign into my spirit page on Facebook. And have you talked to Stell? Can we share anything from Chronicles X too? Because you and I have experience there as well. And yes, Gaz.
We probably can. We can share stuff, but I'll check with him first. I know if you look on Instagram under Chronicles X, there's some snippets there from what we've just done. They're just
It
little
was on
snippets. But
YouTube as well. Yes. Oh, I haven't looked on Insta yet.
yeah, there is on YouTube the original Chronicles X, the one we did at Castlemaine with you. You were there. That'll be on YouTube somewhere. I'm not sure where. I haven't really watched it for a long time. It's weird, isn't it? You do these things, but you don't really watch them. Well, I don't anyway.
Yeah, I don't all that often, but I mean, you and I shared the one that really unsettled me was that one that happened at Arradale with it was like something walked in.
Look, Arradale, for me, Arradale holds a very special place in my heart. I was fortunate enough to be the first person to ever investigate Arradale, and that was back in the early 2000s. And it was such a special occasion. In fact, it was an honour to have done it for the first time. But there were things that happened that night that I'll never forget. And their experiences. We all have our own experiences every now and again, but there was a lot of things that I'll truly never ever forget. There was an incident where I think I told you about the time. Again, this is crazy. This stuff happens to me. I don't know why, but it was when I was about to walk into the female wing, and I froze. I literally froze, and I couldn't walk another step to go in. And the other guys went in before me, and they're asking me to come in, and I'm like, I can't. I don't know. I just cannot go in there. And within a split second, I know this is going to sound really, really crazy, but within a split second, I was looking at myself from about 20 meters away. And I'm thinking, hang on, this doesn't make sense. How can I see myself 20 meters away? And
Yeah, exactly.
and it was odd because I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking, why? How can I say it's not possible, And it started to trouble me where I got to the point where I was a bit sort of panicked by it, not panicked, but shaken by it. I didn't know what was happening. So
No,
I'm
yes.
thinking, oh, okay. And I literally ran towards myself, and within a second, it felt like someone had hit me with a freight train. It just went bang, and then I'm back there like normal. And then I went
That
into the building, and I said to the guys, "You're not going to believe this, And I told him, and one of the girls we were with, you know very well, Diz, she said to me, she goes, I noticed that you were standing there, but your face had completely changed. I said, well, I didn't know. I couldn't see my face. So I was, and I just couldn't get the words out. I couldn't even explain what had happened. It was too hard to even put into words, but that was what happened briefly in a nutshell.
my heart would be fit to stop, really. It'd frighten the heck out of me. It really would.
I
Oh,
carried on.
Fiona says hi too. Hi, Fee. Sorry I missed it, darling. I'm trying to find videos. I don't have actually I might have the Chronicles X Pro. No, I don't. Have you got it on Messenger on your phone? The link to the
Possibly,
YouTube
but
channel or the Insta something?
you know what? I'll have a look after this.
Got shots
I'll send it to you,
of us
and then you can
together.
probably put it up. Yeah, I've got the whole
Yeah.
episode of the first one,
Yes, that would be awesome. Now, something
so
just
I'll
beeped.
share that with
I
you.
don't know what happened. Now, Emma just commented on something. I can't see you. Sorry, sweetheart. Yes, I'll go on live chat again.
So I can tell the folks, if you like, a little bit about how I first met you, which was over 20 odd years ago.
Oh, yes, I've been bugging you ever since.
You have. Unfortunately, my ears are worse the wear for it, but that's all good. No, it happened, I think it was about 2 years ago. I remember with a group that I'd been part of, we would investigate the Mitre Tavern. Yeah, we were
Yes.
investigating the Mitre Tavern in the city. And just before that, I got an email from yourself saying, listen, I'm really interested in this stuff. Is there any way you point me in the right direction and all this sort of thing, And the guy that I was partners with at the time, be negative. He said, no, don't worry about them. You get plenty of them. Just, get rid of them. But I'm not that person. And I thought, you know what, everyone deserves, if I can learn this, why can't others, And I remember I emailed you back and I said, look, we're going to be at the Mitre Tavern. If you want to meet us there on this particular date, then I'm happy to meet you and we'll go from there. And it sort of, yeah, pretty much went from that point onwards.
I was starstruck. I had no idea such a thing as paranormal investigation existed back then, except that Haunted, the first doco I ever saw, one that has stuck with me ever since I was like 7 or 8, and yeah, that was Ian's production. And yeah, that was the
Yeah,
first time I heard the term, and I was only very young, so I didn't understand the term at that time. I didn't understand parapsychology at that time, and I'm a huge fan now.
Well, the paranormal investigations, in all honesty, it's not new. We can go back, to the original Ghost Club, and you can go back to your Hans Holzers, and they go back to some of them into the 1800s, back into the 19th century.
Yes,
so it's not new by any means.
Even earlier, I read a report from G.M. Gaspereau, who was a French psychical researcher, about a Egyptian man complaining that his wife's poltergeist or ghost was destroying his house. And, that fascinates me. And they used to use, I think that was it them? No, it was the Greeks that used the what was the mirror called again? The experiment with the mirror in the darkened room. The I'm sorry, I'm
Scrying.
tired. My brain's a mush.
The scrying mirror.
The psychomantium. The psychomantium with the mirror.
Oh yes,
and
yeah.
Room and you focus on the mirror. I think that was
it's a form of scrying. That's what they're doing.
And the ancient Egyptians used to sleep in the tombs of the dead as well, to see if they could contact them.
Yep.
And I guess they've been curious since the dawn of time.
Well, you can go back as far as the Iliad with Homer, where he talks about the ghost of a man in his backyard. He saw what he thought was a spirit.
Yes, and Pliny the Elder, the ghost of Athenodorus, appeared in the villa of some guy in ancient Greece. I can't remember his name. Or maybe Athenodorus was the guy's name. I don't know. But I mean, it's fascinating. And then there's reports, of course, linking back to ancient Roman times as well, all over the world. It's always been something that's drawn me. It's fascinated. It's really interested me all along. And I mean, you've always taught me, and I've always believed anyways, that you never stop learning.
No, you never do. Like you said before, I'm a walking bank of encyclopedia of the paranormal. In realistic terms, I'm no better than anybody else. I just do a bit of due diligence. That's it. I've had a lot of things happen. Sure, I've had a few experiences here and there, but I'm one of many, many hundreds, thousands of people even that have done it.
Now, you formed ParaQuest when? Was it back in the sorry, I missed it. My brain, as I said.
That would have been back in the 90s, I think. Would have been, back in the 90s.
You were always more drawn to the serious scientific side of things than the sort of fluffy paratainment side of stuff.
I was, but I was of the same. My opinion was, I'm definitely more into the science of what goes on, and trying to use as much scientific method at all times where I could. But at the same time, when you're in this world of the paranormal, any tool that you can use is fine, And I was using mediums and all sorts, so there were no limits. There were no limits whatsoever. You just use whatever you could use, whether it's a medium, a parapsychologist, or even yourself and some of your instruments. And the instruments that we were using, we weren't aware at the time that they were pretty gimmicky now. But back then, we didn't have anything, nothing. There was absolutely bugger all.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, that's something I believe in mediums and Ouija boards for experimental use. And that's what caused a few of the members to leave Spirit. They weren't interested in running experiments of that sort, and they didn't want acknowledgement of the ideomotor effect or anything. I mean, my mum was a
Yeah.
very good medium. I am a believer, but experimental purposes. I mean, the SPR used to conduct experiments with that sort of
Mm.
thing, and I think Walter Whately Carrington did as well, and the modern day researchers do as well. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
um, Michael Persinger did, the late great Michael Persinger.
Yeah.
He deserved the bad rep he got, poor bugger. Um, yeah, Dean Radin,
Look,
Rupert Sheldrake, I think as well. He's one of my favorites as well. Russell Targ, you know,
well,
what?
mediums for me are a good starting point because if you go into, um, say, an alleged haunted location, you don't know where to start. So it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. So using a medium to say, okay, you go first, you give me an idea of what's around, and they might say, oh, that particular part of the building or over in that room, something. So you've got, okay, well, there's a start. Let's work with that. So it gives you a starting point.
Yes, and now you've had scientific training as well, haven't you? Or you
Mm.
were
Yeah.
just fascinated?
No, a bit of both, a bit of both. So yeah, I do have a little bit of science background, and also engineering. So that's yeah, part of what I do.
And see, I was all right at science in high school, but I statistical analysis makes my head hurt.
Oh,
I
statistical analysis is one part of it. You know,
scary.
science is about measurement. Science is about numbers and measurement. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. That's what science is all about, measuring by any means, whatever the means is. And the way you measure that, there are many different ways to measure things, but mathematics is a unit of measurement because you can use percentages and that sort of thing. So, you know, when you do
Oh,
your statistical analysis, you're working on a percentage base.
I was terrible at maths. Now solar flares. We have to get onto this because that's happening tonight. I think that's why the internet went out briefly earlier
Well,
on.
look, it's been happening for the last few days. We've got some big geomagnetic storms happening. There are quite a few sunspots on there at the moment that are visible if you've got the right equipment to view them with. But there was a particularly big one, I believe, on the eastern side of the sun, which was facing a little bit away. It was facing away from us, fortunately. It wasn't actually facing us at the time. But that threw out some pretty big solar flares, which gave off massive geomagnetic energy. And fortunately, look, our Earth is shielded by our atmosphere and all things that happen in there. So we are quite well shielded, but we're not immune from it. I mean, we still do get bombarded by radiation.
Yes, and
But yeah, if
I
we
mean
were to take a direct hit, we would be gone.
the Schumann resonances have been one of my favorite things that I have ever read
Yeah.
about so far as the possibility of telepathy goes as well, because the Schumann
Hmm.
resonances and the Schumann cavity, and I mean, could there be the possibility of solar flares being at play in that too?
Look, it is quite possible. There's no reason it can't be. I mean, when you look at the Schumann resonance, you're also looking at lightning strikes on the Earth and the magnetic input that has, on the Earth's magnetic field and what it does and what it plays around with. So it's all possibilities are there. Nothing's ever been proven 100%, but the possibilities are definitely there.
Yes. Now, that's that's another thing too. That's another of my favorite things that I want to talk about. Well, which is something that I can unfortunately hear, which is the hum. It used to be really
Yeah, yeah,
annoying.
yeah.
The
Look, some
possibility
people
of
like yourself.
hearing ultra low frequency or extra low frequency sounds.
Well, so yeah. Well, again, some people can hear it. I can't hear it personally, but if I
I used to
wanted to
live
hear it, I would.
in a seedy
I
area,
would
so
actually
I thought it was noisy neighbors having techno at 2 in the morning.
have got yeah. What if I want to hear it myself? I would basically just pull out my natural EM trifield meter, and then I can put it on SUM, and you'll hear it through the meter. You won't hear the hum, but you'll hear the constant squeak, which tells you there's the magnetic hum there. So, and you can pick up the Earth's magnetic field. So that's
Yeah.
one way if you want to hear it.
Now, I'm going to open Facebook up again. It says chat will appear. Um, it's okay. No, it's all right. It says chat will appear. I was going to turn it back on Facebook because I can't see any chat at the moment. Or maybe I'll put it on small screen just so that we can see so that I can see you and you can see me.
I can see me. That's it.
Yes, I can. Oh, hang on. You're
I can
back
see me
in.
again.
Okay. Now I'll log back onto Facebook because I'm sorry, folks, I can't see chat, but it gives us a bit of feedback. So I might pop my headphones on as well.
Are you seeing messages? I'm not seeing anything from anyone.
Now, let me see. It should be live right now, actually. It is going live right now. We are live. We are live. There's no feedback
Hello,
issues.
everyone.
There's no feedback issues. Emma said trees surrounding the Arrowdale Morgue, the peppercorn trees. The peppercorn trees.
The peppercorn trees, also known as citronella. Now, why were they planted there? Now, the reason they were planted there, from what I can gather through doing a bit of research, is back in the day when Arrowdale was active and, you know, had plenty of people there, even when it was first built, the morgue was there. They didn't have refrigeration back then. So, you know, you'd have bodies lying in state. You know, imagine in the middle of summer, I'm sure it wouldn't have been a pleasant atmosphere. And in order to keep flies and insects and bugs away, they would plant citronella, which is a natural pesticide, and flies and insects won't go near it.
Yes, we have basil growing in our kitchen as well, and yeah, that keeps the bugs away too. And I think we have catnip as well, although our cat is not a fan, but it keeps them away as well. And
it's no accident
yeah.
that trees are planted there like that. I found the same too. Went down at the Maribyrnong River, the old there was an old slaughter factory back on the old Maribyrnong River back in the early 1900s near the Pipeworks Park there. Again, same thing, where that factory used to be, it's no longer there. Lo and behold, you've got your peppercorn, your citronella, they're all planted there. So there was no accident.
Yes. Now, Emma also said something about where is it? Something else here. I've just got to open the business suite here. I hate this Meta Business Suite. Emma Percy said Chronicles _TV capital lowercase Instagram capital F features your name.
Right, that'll be a link, I guess.
Yes, I dare say so. I'm trying to hit love. Sorry, Em. I haven't got my phone. It's on charge. It was nearly dead. I can't seem to hit love.
Yeah, Chronicles X on Insta, they're just mini reels. They're just little reels, parts of what we were filming. The whole show itself's been done. We've wrapped that up and it's in edit now. So we've done all the post-edit stuff. Now we're in edit. So.
Now, where else did you film? At Haunted Australia. You filmed at Geelong Jail, yes?
Yeah, Geelong Jail. Again, I've been fortunate, I must say. I've been very fortunate. But again, one of the very first, if not the first, people to investigate Geelong Jail before we even filmed there. So that was another positive. But yeah, we filmed at Geelong Jail. We filmed at Arrowdale. We filmed at Clarkfield. We filmed at
Clarkfield. I love that place.
Yeah, look, Clarkfield was fantastic. We had a good night that night. There was certainly something going on that night. Again, can't put my finger on it, but there was certainly something going on, that's for sure. Blackwood Hotel, that was another one.
I never got to go
I
there.
can't remember them all, to be honest. There were so many, I can't remember them all. The Melton Equestrian Centre, that's right, we did that one there. That was an interesting night, that night, I must admit. Where else? You put me on the spot now. I don't know. You'd think I'd remember, but you know, old age sort of gets the better of you after a while.
God, and where did you film Chronicles X at?
The first one we did is at Castlemaine
as well, so don't worry.
Yeah,
Castlemaine.
Chronicles, the first one was Castlemaine. You were there, but when we did the next series, the
I
Chronicles X
love a
series,
castle.
we we filmed all through the Golden Plain Shire. So quite a lot of places there. Let me tell you.
Anywhere in Ballarat? I think you filmed in
No, we didn't
Kilmore.
go to Ballarat.
I think you filmed in Kilmore for Haunted Australia, didn't you? The
Yeah, we
Kilmore
did.
Town
Yeah,
Hall or something?
Kilmore Town Hall. That's right. Yeah, we did that for Haunted Australia. That's right. See, you remember more than
Yeah.
me.
God, my brains are pretty mushy at the moment. Don't worry, and my throat's killing me. But yes, and Castlemaine, I still miss Castlemaine. I think it was incredibly selfish of them to close it all off. You know,
Well,
the
it was a business. You've got
cafe,
a
that
business is
public
business.
radio station. You know, it they had a great little cafe. They made fantastic
Yeah.
breakfast burritos, and they had beer at nighttime as well, and
Yeah.
you know, a lovely
I
little
do.
court.
I remember one thing at Castlemaine when we did Chronicles X. When you and I, when we were all there, and we heard the whistle. Do you remember the whistle? We had no idea where
Yes.
that came from.
Yes, that
So
was
yeah.
awesome. I was making coffee at the time. I was making 3 coffees out in the cafe because I'm a pretty good barista. And you were off at the other end of the jail, and you came out and
I was
called to
off
me,
to
and I came out again as
yeah.
well. Oh, Emma commented again. Let's see. And Emma commented again. I just want to see what she said. And yes. Emma said, Castlemaine, we both made a very fond paranormal evening.
Yeah, we did, and
Thank
I
you,
remember
darling. We
going.
had a fantastic time, all of us.
We did. We went back there not that long ago. Em was there, I think. Yeah, Em, of course she was there. And I think Stacey, one of her friends, was there at the time, and we went to the Penny Wait Cemetery, and that
Yes,
was a lovely
it's so
experience there. It certainly
sad,
was.
that place.
It
And
is, but it is, but it isn't.
did you go to the Chinese cemetery at Hepburn Springs as well, I think? Is it Hepburn Springs?
No, we
That
didn't go
place
there.
with the big, huge slide and the little train that goes around on the tracks?
Yeah, is that Hepburn Springs or Dalesford? I don't know. I
It
can't
had
remember. It's
natural
something. Yeah,
mineral springs. I think it might have been Dalesford. I'm not
yeah,
sure. I
yeah,
can't remember.
yeah. I think it's Dalesford.
Yeah,
No,
but yeah,
we didn't go there.
the Chinese cemetery was fascinating. The amount of honor that they give the dead, and I mean, in this day and age, you find tombstones vandalized in graveyards, by disrespectful folks, and
Mm.
that's really sad.
It is. Oh, yeah. The wife and I, we generally visit cemeteries quite often. Because Marie does genealogy, and I just like going to the cemeteries. I'm a bit of a sticky beak, and I just wander around. And yeah, they're a beautiful, peaceful places. I don't find anything threatening or horrible about cemeteries. In fact, I could sit on a park bench in a cemetery and fall asleep. They're that peaceful. But when I walk around, I look at all the headstones that are there, and you look at them and you go, that's a life there. That's a story. That there is a story. Every headstone is a story. So, yeah, and it's just there to be told, I guess.
Yes, and that's something that you've always taught me about too, which is a respect
Mm.
for history, a respect because these people had pasts. I mean, even criminals, they did
Yeah.
their time. They deserve the respect too, you know.
Look, you got to look at it this way. The way I look at it is they're gone. They don't have another shot at it. We're still here. We're still alive. I'm sure that's what they would love to have is life again, but they don't get another shot at it. So be respectful. We're still
And
living in the moment.
some of them were wrongly accused. I mean, the first man that was hanged at Castlemaine jail was wrongly accused. He was innocent, and that's really sad. And a couple of Chinese were wrongly accused as well because,
Yeah.
there was a great prejudice against the Chinese and the indigenous back then.
But the Victorians were good at handing out capital punishment 10 to the dozen just because.
Yes, absolutely, because they could, I guess,
Mm.
because they were imperious and cruel. And I mean, look at the solitary confinement cells or the prison cells in the early days. You know, you couldn't sit down on your bed, you couldn't talk, you had to wear a mask. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it was based on the Pentonville system, I think.
yeah, which was a silent prison.
Yes, you couldn't look at the guards. You had to keep your head down when
No,
the guards went past. It was shocking.
but
Bread and
that
water in
was
the dark
typical.
solitary confinement cells, and the
Pretty
cooking
much
smells coming from
all
the kitchen at the
jails. You look at all jails, yeah, based on the Pentonville system, and all the windows. If you look in the windows, they're up high, but they all face upwards towards the sky. Um, that reason given was because the prisoners had
sorry.
to look up to God and repent. That's all they could do. They weren't allowed to do anything else. That's why they could never look out. They always had to look up. And yeah, for that reason. And silence was just a punishment because the spoken word could be sinful and harmful. So it was like, no, not on. That's gone quiet. Are you still there?
Yes, the rapes. I'm trying to get you on solo layout. Sorry,
Oh,
here we
okay.
go.
Well, I'm on my own
That's all
now.
good. I shouldn't fart around with it, really. Yes, the rapes. Staff members, other patients, you know, orphanages,
Mm,
asylums.
yep. I've got
Yeah,
to
it was
admit, the Victorian
shocking.
era was a pretty nasty sort of era to be in. I wouldn't want to have
It
lived in that era,
was.
to be honest with you.
I mean, medical science was really primitive back then, what with full frontal lobotomies with your ice pick and everything. They didn't know back
Mm.
then, and I mean they needed that to build on, I guess. So it was important. The
Well,
work they did
I would
was just that they didn't know how cruel they were being, I guess. I don't know.
no.
Maybe they did. I would be sad if
Well,
they did.
I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. Let me tell you.
Well, I got a can in front of me. It's dry ginger.
Yeah,
Ginger beer. It's only mid strength. I've got a cold, but it's got ginger, so at least there's that.
I'm drinking Coke. Well, we'll leave it at that.
With a
It's
teeny
not something I do
weeny
regularly.
millimeter or two of Bundy in it. That's all right.
Yes, look,
Kenny's a Kraken fan too, I think, and
oh,
uh,
good, good.
Kenny been
Look,
on.
I am having a drink. A little bit of sad news today. Unfortunately, one of my good friends passed away today, so that was for him.
I'm
I was just
so
having a can
sorry,
for him.
Kaz. I'm so sorry.
No, no, it's all good. He was on his look. He had cancer and he was pretty much gone.
Yeah.
And I went and seen him about a month or so ago, and he just said, that's it. May as well say see you later now because I'm gone. So, and he went this afternoon. So it was expected. It wasn't unexpected. So yeah, look,
So
I'm sort of sad for it, but it wasn't unexpected.
he was at peace, pretty much.
Yeah, he was at peace with himself and what had gone on. So he basically, yeah, just said, "Take me," I guess.
Yeah. That's it's that sort of acceptance. I mean, my mum went so suddenly; she didn't have any time to accept it. So yeah,
Mm.
it was a really terrible thing. Um, yeah, it was quite shocking. I'm just
Well,
switching
it
my
brings
profile
us
to see
back
if
to the
there's
subject.
questions.
Brings us back to the subject of you've got to understand we're a living, breathing creature, and coming to terms with your own morbidity is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. We're only here for a given time. It's not infinite. It's finite. So yeah, you make the most of what you got while you've got it, and like what I've taught you, and I teach others too. Like, yeah, I might have a bit of stuff inside my head that I've learned over the years, but pay it forward. I can't take it with me when I go. It's no use to anyone else when I'm gone. If it's in my head,
Yeah,
is it?
and that's why I always tried to as well. You and my mom taught me very well. Be
Hmm.
respectful, share what you learned, don't hoard it to yourself like the Warrens did. We won't go into that, and
No, I
don't
don't go into
fake
that one.
stuff like a certain someone that shall not be mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's good to know that you're passing it forward. Same as Em, I taught Em the same thing, and I'm pretty sure she does that too. So, and that's what it's about, sharing. Why keep it to ourselves? Let's share it. The more people that know about it and are out there in the field, the more chance we have of getting some good results, in the end.
And respect and honor and gratitude,
Yep,
and I
absolutely.
mean,
It's about all of the above.
the mental toolkit. Now, other important attributes, mental, not physical. We'll talk about the gadgets in a minute. You can bring Slimer on for that, of course.
He's over here anyway. He's just hanging out in the background. Say hello.
Hi, Slimer. Yes. Now, sorry, where were we?
Mental gadgets.
Yes, mental toolkit.
Yeah.
Gratitude, respect, honesty, honor,
Integrity. Don't forget integrity.
curiosity.
Well, curiosity is pretty much the start of it all. Without curiosity, you don't have anything, do you? Really?
Exactly. And that's the thing, I don't get why so few people are interested in the whole parapsychology side of the thing. Is it scary for them? Is it difficult?
No,
Um,
I don't. I don't think
for
it's
the
scary
fun
for
or
people.
the entertainment, or is it difficult
I think
perhaps?
there are too many. How do I say? Too many wannabe Zach Bagans people out there that they're not interested in the real
You got to bring
side of what
Slimer
it.
on for that. And this is a drink moment too.
Sorry, there we go. There you go. Thanks, Lama. And let me just pull his tongue, and he'll make a noise. Hang on. So yeah,
now,
so
now,
there are a lot of
now,
people out
this is
there
a
that
drink moment
want.
too.
Good, you have a sip. I can't see you anyway. But yeah, look, there are a lot of people out there in the paranormal community. Whether they're listening or not, I don't know. But I've got to be honest with you. There are a lot of people out there that want to be Zach Bagans. They want to have their own TV show. They want fame, fortune. They want
Yeah,
all sorts of stuff. But if this field, if you take it seriously, you've got to look at every aspect. Even like parapsychology is a big part of it. I mean, parapsychologists are not people that just, jump at fairy tales. They do their homework. They do proper research, and
exactly.
they use science as well.
They're well
So
trained,
that's
and two of them even get
and
paid.
that's
You know.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's right. But you got to understand this field. If you want to look into it seriously, then you've got to use parapsychology. You've got to use science. Science is the key. So as I said before, science is about units of measurement. So without units of measurement, you don't really have much. So when you're using science, it's not a matter of waving a gadget around and saying this is scientific. That doesn't mean anything. So
Exactly.
you do your. I've said to you before. I teach people the simple, basic 5 steps of the scientific method. That's the simple. There are many, but the simple five. Start off. The first one is you ask a question. Is this place haunted, for example? So that's you ask a question. Secondly, is do your research. Okay, do your research on where you are. Research the hell out of the house, whatever building you're in, when it was built, everything you could come up with in research. Okay, once
Yeah.
you've done your research, then you sit there and you think, what do I do next? Well, the third step, you've got to then construct a hypothesis. You've got to sit there and go, okay, if I did this, would this happen? You know what I mean? That's your hypothesis. You don't know. So that's your hypothesis. So once you've
Yes.
done that, that's your third step. Then you go into the fourth step, which is to conduct an experiment. Now, when I say conduct an experiment, you conduct an experiment controlled. So you have certain variables that you set up. You control an experiment. So, for example, you look at the hypothesis is okay. If I was to, for example, yell a name out of a person who's dead, are they going to yell back? So, well, let's find out. That's when you do your experiment. So you may do that experiment 100 times, and you might get once, for example. One time you heard someone in that room say, "Yeah, that's me," or whatever, after you called their name out. This is only a hypothetical, right? So 1 out of 100. Now you've got numbers. Okay, so then you can say out of the 100 times that I did that, only 1% of the time did I get an answer. So would you say that that room was haunted? Yeah, 1%. No number, but it's 1%. So there's your scientific method. So when you were talking before about statistical analysis, well, it all works on numbers. So you did that experiment 100 times, you got a reply, so therefore you got 1%. So yeah, again, they're the 5 simple basic steps. There are many others, but that's what I try to teach people when they're doing an investigation. Take all your notes with you, as you've seen all my notes that I've taken over the years. But that's what you do. You don't just go in there, wave a gadget, hear a noise, say, "Yep, it's haunted." So anyone can do that.
Exactly. Now, what was I going to say next? My brains are really mush. Now,
Gadgets. We were going to talk gadgets.
gadgets. That's right.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about the
Right.
stone tape theory as well, because
Stone
I,
tape theory. I've got my own theory on that.
yeah,
I think I've
and
told
the
you about that.
shepherd's tone. We have to talk about the shepherd's tone
Shepherds. All
because I
right. Well,
love,
let's do it in that order. All right.
yes,
We'll talk about some of the instruments. Now, I've used many instruments in my time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not akin to not using them. I certainly do, but I use them for their intended purpose. Like if I'm using an EMF meter, for one, I won't use a single axis. So what's the point? Because you're only measuring one axis. I use a multiple axis, like a natural EM trifield meter, and I do a true baseline reading. If I'm investigating, I look for the areas that do contain some form of magnetic field, and I'll pinpoint that and highlight it. So it's not a matter of just waving it around and go, "Oh, there's something here." I find every little bit of interference I can, and I document it on paper. There it is. So that's what I do. I don't use your single axis because I'm just looking for a needle in a haystack doing that. Things
yes,
also, another thing, I'm not a big fan of the spirit box, to be honest with you, because I think it's just someone making money, really. Let's break it down simply. It's a radio scanner. That's all it is. So
yeah,
when you look at it from a logical point of view, in order for you to be communicating with a ghost through that thing, they would have to be broadcasting from a radio studio somewhere, wouldn't they? That's where you're
yes.
getting the signals from.
Somewhere out in the
So the
ionosphere.
chances of a ghost,
Yes.
somewhere a ghost is sitting in a radio studio, mic'd up and everything with headphones on,
With a
and
cup
is
of coffee
talking
or
to
a
you
glass of
live at
beer.
a location where they have no idea where you are.
Yes.
So you do the maths. What are the chances? Pretty much zero. So what they're doing is they're just jumping at things. So you're hearing noises, you're hearing voices, you're hearing all sorts of things, and half the time it's very muffled and you don't hear a lot. And all of a sudden someone goes, "Yeah, it said this." Oh, mate, well, I didn't hear that. So you
Yes.
just jump
Now,
things, and it's really not science.
I got to say, though, I have had, I think, two WTF moments on audio with both not captured on audio, I don't think, but with the
Mm.
Ovilus. I have the original Ovilus. Hi, Mr. Alex is home. And with the spirit box, too. Now, the first crystal clear EVP that I ever caught was at J Ward. And that
Mm.
was the first jail
Yeah, look,
assignment in
I
Australia to
like
house
EVPs.
the male AIDS patient. And he died there. And I caught
I
a
do
very
like a
clear
good EVP.
said, I'm sick. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
think you did play that one to be honest before. Again,
and
I
I
do
caught
like a
it
good
in the spirit
EVP,
box.
but for me, an EVP has to be crystal clear, so there's no denying 100% what it said. Otherwise, you're just using conjecture. So, and I've caught many EVPs over the
Yes,
years that I think, well, there's definitely a noise, but don't know what it
that
is.
too.
But having said that, I did pick up one back in Pleasant Creek. That's right, we were at Pleasant Creek.
Yes, I love
Um,
that place.
And that was as clear as
Excuse
day.
me.
And to me, that is a good EVP. Like
It
when I was talking
is.
to Anthony Kellner, we were sitting together, we were having a discussion, and I turned to Anthony and I said to him, "Mate, tell you what, I'm really hot. I'm burning up here because it was a hot night." And he said,
Yes.
"Oh yeah." And then there was a voice that came in. We didn't hear it at the time. We were using a Zoom H3, so it was a good audio system. And a voice came in as clear as day, and it said, "You're on fire." And it's like,
Yes.
and I heard that because we had it running. We didn't think we picked anything up, but later in the evening, we're just kicking back, having a can of Coke as we were, and kicking back, just having a rest, having a break. And I'll put the headphones on and I'll listen to it. And I nearly fell off my chair. And I said, there's someone there with us, wasn't there? And he goes, no. And I said, there had to have been. This is too clear. But there wasn't. I remember there was no one. It was just him and I. We were in the hall, in the main hall. And it was
Now,
crystal clear. There was no reverb like it was from outside. It was right next to us. That was a good one. People call them class A's, class. I don't classify them. I just say if it's Bell, that's what it is.
that was awesome though. And Jono caught a great one at Aradale too. Someone told him to F off CUNT. See you next Tuesday. Sorry, folks.
See you next Tuesday. Yeah, that's the one.
My brain's really mush. I just wrote, I haven't sent you my research paper yet. It came to 4,108 words on telepathic
That's not a bad effort. Yeah, not bad effort at all. Just send it to me via telepathy.
I'm a I can't talk.
Or anyway,
yes,
that's
I'm always
my take on gadgets. I don't mind them, but if you're going to use the gadgets, use them for what their intended purposes for. There is no such thing as a gadget that tells you that there's a ghost around. It doesn't exist. No such instrument. So use them for their intended purpose, and look, you may get results. You may get other results. You might use an EMF detector and find, hang on a minute, I've just picked up something that shouldn't be here. Then research it further. What was it? You got to try and sort of break it down. You dig deep into it and find out what it is. So there's usually an answer for it, but you just have to go looking. So yeah, my take on gadgets: use them for what their intended purpose is. Leave it at that. Thermal imaging, though. Thermal imaging, I do like thermal imaging. I've had a bit of success with that. It's pretty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gaz?
Yeah.
Brand, price, audio recorder, brand and price. I'm sure folks will want to know that. And I need to know too, because I want one.
But for a Zoom, I don't know what they're worth now. They're probably about $400 or $500 or something. I'm not sure. They're not cheap, but I'll tell you what, they're bloody good. It was a Zoom H3 or H4.
Yes.
No, they're made by Zoom. The company Zoom H4.
That's so crystal clear, that one. That is a fantastic one.
It's brilliant.
And you and I caught some awesome stuff on. And you and I caught some awesome stuff on audio and video at Thompson's Hotel in Cobden too. Remember the dust test that we did that said Paul Marie was sneezing because we caught that big glowy thing going across the room? And Paul Marie got a sneezing fit. Sorry, Marie.
All the dust. Well, she can't hear you in the other room.
I felt really
I do remember at Thompson's. That's where at Thompson's, I remember telling you about a theory I had when we were talking about stone tape. When we were at Thompson's, and my theory was the theory I have with the stone tape theory is that, look, a lot of the buildings that we go to are bluestone, right? They're bluestone buildings, Victorian buildings, and inside they're painted with a lead-based paint, right? And the way you can test the lead-based paint is to rub a coin or a key on the paint, and if it looks like it's leaving a pencil on, well, it's lead-based. And that's what I showed you, and we came up with a lead-based sort of paint indication when we were at Thompson's. But my theory is, okay, you look at a bluestone building. Now, bluestone has an high iron ore content, okay, so it's a good conductor. And then on the inside, you've got painted walls that are painted with lead base. So when you look at it, you're literally standing inside a giant battery, because look at the batteries. The batteries used to be just lead, weren't they? Lead, with the diode through the middle of them. So they would store energy. So in my eyes, I think the theory, and it's only a theory, in my eyes, is a lot of the haunted buildings that we go to are like a giant battery, and that energy will come out every now and again, given the right circumstances. Things happen, you'll get something residual happen or something non-residual would happen, interactive and all that sort of thing. But it's not guaranteed. There's still I don't know. It's only a theory. That's all I look at it as. But I'm yet to be proven wrong
It
or
works
right.
here.
So it's
The
still a
50
theory.
cent, the silver coin test worked here as well, but this building is brick, but it has lead paint. But now ley lines too, because Thompson's Hotel was on a ley line. Now these
Yeah, look,
are
ley lines
natural
are
energy
everywhere.
lines.
They are. They're all part of the all part of your
A volcanic
geomagnets.
field as well, too, I think.
Yeah,
It's a,
absolutely.
it was a lava field as well. Not an active one, a dried up one. I can't remember what they call them, but a dried up one. Dried up lava
Well,
field,
you lay, yeah. Well,
ley
yeah, well, that's right.
lines.
Dried up lump. Your ley lines are full of geomagnetic energy. You're talking about the Earth itself is just a ball of energy. It's seething on the inside. Hence the reason we get continental shelf sliding under one another. We get volcanoes happening and different subduction zones and all that sort of stuff. So it's a constant ball of energy. So there's got to be ley lines. They're like a fractured line. They're like a line that it's not an earthquake. It's just literally a line. Say if you were to put a crack in a battery, you'd still get energy jumping between in that crack. So in effect, it's
Yes.
basically a ley line. That's what a ley line is. It's an energy line, and they're everywhere. They're all over the place. You know, they're not all straight lines, by the way. A lot of people go, "Oh, it's dead straight this way," and there's an intersection here. They're not all dead straight. They can run like a river. Rivers aren't all dead straight. So, but
Yes,
they're
and
there, definitely there.
I think ley lines used to get scorned by the folks in the field back then, as a possible source of energy for anything discarnate or that sort of thing.
Well, we
But
don't know. That's the problem. It is
I mean, it
definitely a
was
source
done
for
very
energy.
early, and there wasn't a great
Mm.
deal of understanding back then.
We talk about storms too when you go on investigations. Stormy nights are the best night. Is it because there's energy in the atmosphere? We don't know, but it is a form of energy that's definitely there. So, and we
God,
all know what energy can't be destroyed. Energy can only go forward to produce other energies. So
I
there's no
remember my
reason why.
I remember myself and Spirit at Arradale on a hot, stormy summer night with lightning and everything. And I was in the
Beautiful.
glass walkway, and it was
Mm-hmm.
awesome. It was absolutely the most amazing thing. I just stood there and gaped. It was fantastic.
Well, that is a massive amount of energy in one bolt of lightning. So it's got to go somewhere, doesn't it? If it hits the ground, where does it go? It's got to go through the ground.
And
So
now
it's got to
Arradale,
be
what's
yeah. But
Arradale
there's got to
made
be
of?
what's it made of? Bluestone.
Bluestone,
There's a
that's
lot of
right.
bluestone. Absolutely,
And
lots of it.
Beechworth too, because they were designed by the same people, weren't they? They were designed by Clark, I think.
Yeah, JJ Clark. That's right. Yeah,
JJ Clark, that's right.
uh,
I knew it was J
yeah.
something Clark.
JJ Clark. He was only a young man when he designed Arradale. I think he was 16. He was only a young man.
He did a
So he
fantastic
had a lot on his. Oh, he did absolutely. He was overseen by the superintendent of works at the time. But yeah, look, he was responsible for quite a few of our well-known buildings. So yeah, JJ Clark had what did he have? Well, all the asylums basically. So you had Arradale, you had Beechworth, you had Yarra Bend. They were all part of the trilogy. There was the three. There was the three largest
Yes.
what they used to call them in the old days. They used to call them not asylums. They were anyway. They're part of the Department of Lunacy. They were lunatic
Sanatorium or
asylums. That's
something.
what they were.
Lunatic asylums, that's right.
Yeah, well, it's not a very good name, but that's what they used. And Arradale was the biggest. Now, the reason they built Arradale, yes, it was the biggest one, and they built it outside of the city because back in the day, when like even the ones that we have now, even at Beechworth, it's not right in the centre of town. It's out in Mayday Hills, so it's still in Beechworth, but on the outskirts of it. And you also had the one, Kew Cottages or another one, wasn't right in the city. It was out of the city bounds. And they did that
Yes.
deliberately because they didn't want the shame of having that in their city. People that were
Yes,
lunatics. It was all hush hush back then.
and I think that's why they built the ha-ha walls as well.
Yeah, well, the ha ha walls were They were built deliberately, but they
Someone
were a
from
form of
Australia, and they made them really confusing, the asylums
yeah,
themselves.
they did. Because on the
Really?
inside, the ha-ha wall only looks 3 to 4 feet high. But on the
Yes.
other side of that, huge drop. You know, if you went to go over, you'd certainly get injured. And some of them even had a moat, believe it or not, on the other side of the ha-ha walls. So they called them ha-ha walls only because the townsfolk will look at that and go, ha-ha, you're not coming out. Bad luck. So it was a horrible name to call them ha-ha walls. They're more of a, a ring of security, I think, just to keep the they didn't call them patients, they called them clients, didn't they? Keep the clients
Yes,
in.
they switched to that in the, I think, the more modern days, because they termed
Yeah, they did. I
patients
think in the 50s and 60s, yeah.
to
But otherwise, they
polite
were
or something
patients.
like
And look,
yes,
you know,
they were
some of the things they
patients.
were in there for ridiculous. You know, you could have had ADHD, for example, straight away. You're in an asylum. You know, you
PMS,
could have been.
PMS,
Yeah, yeah. There's so many different reasons. Yeah, autism was one,
and you
and
only needed one to get you in, and what was it, 8
yeah,
signatures to get you released or
eight was it 8 or 9 to get you released? Yeah.
something?
So it didn't take much. But so you have a look at, and I'm sure some of your guests would know this. And I know Alan would know it too. But there's a list there that tells you some of the things that you could be admitted into a lunatic asylum for, and some of them you just shake your head. You've got to be kidding.
I
You've
know,
got to
I've
be
got a
kidding,
list
huh?
somewhere. I've got a list somewhere as well. Sorry, guys, I'm just barking over here in the background here.
No,
Um,
that's all good.
Shocking. I think
You
people,
could be
they could read too much or have postnatal
read too
depression.
much, yeah. Yeah, a woman at that time of the month could suffer hysteria. That's an offence. So you can get locked up for that in an asylum. Um, oh, the list just goes on. And some of the most ridiculous things, but that's the way it was back then. It's
I
better
know.
to throw someone out of society than deal with it.
A really
So
fascinating
unfortunately, that's what they did.
experience a really fascinating one that I had at Mayday Hills in Beechworth, which, oh God, we've got to talk about Willow Court soon too. Hi, Emma. Hi, Shah. I think Shah's running a tour tonight, but she'll see this
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
We'll pick
All
it up
right,
later.
let's have a chat about Willow Court.
Now,
You and I,
yes,
we've both been to
Willow Court.
Willow Court. We've been there on a couple of occasions and caught up with them, caught up with Shah. What a magnificent place, Willow Court. So, any of you listeners out there, if you ever get over to Tassie, I don't know if you can get into Willow Court anymore, but go and visit. If you get a chance, go and visit the shop there. I think it's still open. And you know, if I don't know if the whole grounds are open now, because I think they sold some of it off, like the ladies' cottage and all that. But
There's a cafe
it's an
now.
exceptional place.
There's a cafe now, and I think the
Yeah.
nurse's cottage is used by
Yeah,
something or other. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask Shah or something,
yeah.
because she's in
I
charge of the
think
tours of
Charmaine's
the.
still doing tours.
Yeah, she
Yeah, I think
is.
Shah's still doing tours there, but I'm not sure if it's of the barracks or anyway.
She's
If
doing.
you
I think
guys get a chance,
she's doing 3. I think at
yeah.
the moment. The
Oh,
ward A,
okay.
ward C, and the ladies' ward. The ladies' cottage, I think,
Yeah.
and the morgue as
I don't know
well.
if you
And I think she
can.
also does the barracks and somewhere else. I can't remember where. I'm sorry, Shar. Yes, she'll tell us anyways. But yes, we had a
Well,
great
Emma will let you know.
Emma, are you
I've
still
spent a bit
there,
of time in
darling?
there.
Are you still there? I can't see any more comments yet. It's she might have gone to have dinner or something.
Yeah, more than likely. But look, it's a
It's
lovely
okay.
place. If you ever get down to Tassie, you guys get down to Tassie. Go
Oh,
down to
yes,
New Norfolk. Just just out of Hobart, you can head down to New Norfolk and
the
get to
bush
explore. I
inn.
mean, the best thing you can
The
do is
bush
explore this
inn. You
country.
didn't
There's
come to the
so
bush
much.
inn, did you? You didn't come to the
I have
bush inn.
been to the Bush Inn. No, I didn't stay there, but I had been
It
there.
was amazing.
Yeah, you guys stayed there, I think, didn't you?
Yes, I had an absolutely bonkers lady across the hall from me. She used to stay outside the door and whisper and swear and call me a whore and yeah. And she started banging and I eventually lost it.
Was
I just
she wasn't a ghost, I take it. She was a real person.
no, she was a flesh and blood person walking around in her nightgown and her slippers and whispering outside the door. And I think she
No,
was
that's
ill.
fair enough.
She was definitely no ghost, but there was some pretty cool stuff there. It's an amazing place. Oldest, other
She
than the
was
whole
ill.
Hobart, I think, oldest pub in Australia.
Oh, that one. I'm pretty sure the Mitre Tavern, although that's in Melbourne. Yeah, you'd be
Ah,
close. The Mitre Tavern, I think, is the oldest
could
from
be
memory.
actually. Could be, yes. Because Mitre Tavern was 1825, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very early on, and the early photos, or there weren't photos back then. They weren't taking photos. They were just drawing pictures. But they showed the Mitre Tavern as a hunter's tavern. So Melbourne itself was just trees, and they were just hunting. And then come back to the Mitre Tavern. So that's a couple of years ago now.
I adored that place too. That's one that's always stuck in my mind. You know, that first night that we got introduced to one another, and that's always stuck in my mind because that was I had some pretty cool stuff happen there, and I had the weirdest, most wonderful thing that's connected to something really sad at Mayday Hill, Salem too. I got lost in the pitch black dark on the third floor there, and the
Oh yeah,
lights to the camera
in the
went
ball
out.
pit.
The light, yep, the bull
Were you
pit.
in the ball? Yeah, yeah. That's nasty, that joint, isn't it?
It was used to house the young, aggressive male offenders. And I was on the third floor. There was no lights, and my cam lights and my IR light, UV light went out as well. So, yes, I
Okay.
was lost. And I was walking around, feeling my way along the
Mm.
walls, and the smell of crap started to pop up next to me because I think they used to make them wear pants that were 3 sizes too big and feed them laxatives
Yes.
constantly. The poor
Yep.
buggers. But it stopped them
Yeah,
fighting, I guess.
absolutely. They would.
I guess it worked.
You know what? I really love hearing people's stories. Right? It sounds silly, but when you look at
So
it, reality is everybody's perception. Perception is everyone has their own perception, which is their reality, and we can't knock that.
yes,
What you see and feel, I might not, but it doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's very real to you. And that's why I
yes,
like hearing a lot of stories that people tell me because I don't sit there and mock them for it and go, "Oh no, you bullshit, you joke." Yeah, it's a story. It was very real to them at the time, and you've got to respect that. I do. I respect that 100%. I've had things happen with me that in my world were very real. My perception said, "Hey, this is real," but no one else would have it, not at the same time. Although actually
yes.
there has been times where it's happened with other people,
Unless
but most of the time you're having your own moment, I guess.
unless it's a shared sort of thing, of course, yes. But I mean, I've had weird stuff happen too in my time. I mean, the smell of crap at Mayday Hills and the thing that happened after Theo overdosed. Um, yeah,
Mm.
when he was gone and he crinkled the chip packet on the bedroom floor there. And yeah, the kitchen window was left open that I didn't even know there was a window there. And yeah, amazing stuff. And it's really, and that's the other thing, the sheep goat effect. That term
Uh,
coined by Schmeidler back in 1942 or 43 or something.
yeah.
The believers versus the non-believers, but not necessarily the I believe everything because
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
right. You're always,
ID, my friend Jason used to put it.
yeah.
Oh, we've got
Look,
a comment
it's good to be a skeptic. It's very
from
healthy.
someone,
Yeah.
Emma, Jojo Dutfield. Hi, Jojo from Somerset, UK. Thank you very much. I love chatting to Gaz. I've been
Morning.
for 20 plus years there. So, yes, thank you very much and welcome. Welcome aboard. I'm very glad this is actually working. I had horrid difficulties with audio the other night because I'm an absolute tech dinosaur. I know nothing about that, which makes me a pretty good investigator, actually, I guess, because I can't fake a goddamn thing. Photoshop
Well,
makes
that's a
my
good
head.
thing.
Photoshop makes my head hurt.
Yeah, look, I can use Photoshop. It's not something I would use on an everyday basis, but I would use it for real photos, not for anything paranormal.
Oh, now, folks, any questions too, put Q in capital letters at the start so that we know it's a question. And yeah, that way we can answer. Yes, because I can see chat
I'll
and
do
there's
my
no
best.
news now.
I'll do my best to answer what I can.
I'm sure you can. Now, shepherd's tone. That's another thing. Now, the tone in
Shepherd's
the horror
tone.
movie is not meant to be heard.
Yeah.
It's a form of light or something.
Well, no, you can hear it. It is audible. It's a series of sine waves. They're sine waves.
Yes,
They
that's
can
right.
exist in the audible world, but they're more familiar in the world of light, right? In your sine wave. But you've got descending and ascending shepherd's tone. So it sounds like if you look at a descending shepherd's tone, it never ends. It sounds like it just goes on forever. It's continually falling, but it has no end. And then you've got the ascending shepherd's tone, which sounds like it's going up, and again, it never ends. Now, I did some experiments with that a little while ago. I'd heard about the shepherd's tone. I thought, I want to give this a crack. I know nothing about it. So, but I did work out that the shepherd's tone can disrupt energy waves, because you're using sound. You're bombarding with sound. So when you're doing a descending shepherd's tone, which I had done before, I had found, strangely enough, that the atmosphere, or it turns negative. It did turn negative, and was it coincidence? I don't know. I haven't done enough experiments, but it happened a couple of times. But then I tried the opposite. I tried the ascending shepherd's tone to see if that would lift, the energy in the atmosphere around me. But it didn't really do anything, the ascending one. But the descending one, it certainly did. It's interesting. So if you guys ever get a chance, read up on the shepherd's tone, and if you want to experiment with it. It's not. That's what it's there for. We're here to experiment. We don't know what the answer is going to be, what the outcomes are going to be. But you're only talking about sound waves that may disrupt, the vibrational energy, I guess. So
Exactly.
what are
And
the, just
I love
having a go at it. It may. I do know that I've been on investigations where I've used it, and it does when you're using the descending one, it does kind of turn a little bit negative, and it has an effect on people too, which is unusual.
You
People
used it
feel
with
really sick, when they hear it. Yeah, I did use it with Sula. Yeah, I remember using it with her. But more than that, I've used it with other people too, and I've it's not dangerous. I wouldn't call it dangerous. A lot of people go, "Oh no, that could be dangerous. It could, bring in demons and all." No, it's sound. It's not going to do that. I wouldn't think so anyway. But yeah, get out there and experiment with it. That's what we're all about, experimenting. We don't have all the answers. We use what you can.
Exactly. Now, cases, experiments first. Cases, past, present, cases that have stuck with you. Some of my favorites are the illness and I think it was the Cheltenham ghost, the ghost of a lady that was dressed in black that appeared in an old house.
I can't recall that one. Be back in a sec, Kat. I've got to take a quick break. I'll be back in a sec.
That's all good, guys. I've got to pee too. I've got to pee as well, so I don't know if I can pause it.
Oh no, I don't have to pee. I just heard Marie call me, but she broke her ankle, so I just got to go see what she wants.
Oh dear me, is she okay? I've got to pee.
Yeah, she's fine. She's not looking bad.
I've got to pee, so I'll mute my audio for now, folks. And say hi to Marie for me too, and hi to Aaron and pat the dog.
I'll do that. I'll be back in
too, folks. I've got to go pee. Sorry, TMI. Yes. And we'll continue from there. And then we've got so much more. We've got locations you visited overseas, present experiments and cases that have fascinated you. I know you told me about a block of units in Ringwood that sounded really, really nasty.
Yes, that is one. We'll be back. You do that. I'll go and tend to the wife, and I'll be back in 2 secs.
Okay.
Be back shortly.
Okay. All right, Lauren. All right. Hang on, Gaz. I gotta feed the cat. Give me 1 second. Gaz? Gaz? Yeah, I've just got to feed Lara. So go ahead, tell them about the units in Ringwood, because that was a really scary one from what you told me. It sounded scary anyways. Gaz?
Hang on, I'm there.
Yes, Gaz.
That's
Now
better.
the units in Ringwood. I've just got to feed Lara. So the units in Ringwood. That was fascinating. Sorry about the toilet break, folks, by the way. Yes, the unit block was it Ringwood? There was a block that there was a lot of activity going on at. And that sounded really frightening. The units
I can't hear you. I don't know if is your mic on? Because it's not coming.
It says it's on.
I can barely hear you.
Hang on, Gaz. You can barely hear me. I'll put my headphones on. Give me 1 sec. Just got to find the damn plug. There we go. Gaz?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you hear me?
But I can't hear you for some reason. I've got my headphones in, but nothing's coming through. Bluetooth is on, everything's on. How about I'll just go live through my phone. Just bear with me. Turn the volume up a bit. All right, can you hear me at all? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I muted the mic when I went to the toilet. Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you. You're very, very, very silent.
Can you hear me now?
It needs to be a bit louder. It's like you're talking miles away.
The units in Ringwood.
Units, I think I heard you say the units in Ringwood. Yeah, look, there was a case a little while ago where I went to a couple of units, or a set of units in Ringwood. Excuse my phone here. Yeah, I was asked to go out there, and apparently there was a lot of things that were happening inside this one unit. They would see a person just walk from one room to another randomly. But it was always a negative thing. They used to tell me all the time it's very negative. So I sat down and had a chat with them. I didn't actually see anything or hear anything myself. But then there was a story associated with the units in the car park. The car park backed onto it was like an underground car park backed onto a main road. But apparently, story had it. I didn't quite get all the facts. I did research, but I didn't get all the facts. That a young man was hit by a car and then staggered into the underground car park and passed away in the car park. And these people were telling me that every time they go to their car as well, they always seem to see the same person. They're there for one moment and then they're gone.
So when I went in there, I went out very open-minded to have a look. But it felt heavy, like I'm a big believer in listening to what your body tells you too, not just the instruments that you use and the science and the technical side of things, but also, listening to your own body. And it just felt very oppressive for some reason. I couldn't work out why, but I didn't see anything. And I went back there a second time, and it felt different the second time. I don't know why that was. It just felt very different the second time. But yeah, that was just one of heaps of different cases that I've did. Another case I do remember going to was where was it? I can't even remember it was. It was a long, long time ago now. But I've been contacted by an elderly lady, and she said, "Look, I don't know who to turn to or who to talk to about this, but I was given your website address. This is many, many years ago. So, and then because I had contact details on there, so she rang me direct, and
I'll
she
pop
said,
out
"Look, I
a copy
think my
for you.
husband comes to visit me. I'm not very sure, but can you come and see if it is him? I'd really love to know if it is." And I said, "Look, I'll come around there." I said, "I'm not a medium, so I don't try to pick up on energies that way, but I'll come around and we'll have do some tests." So I went round and I'd spoken to this lady, a lovely old lady, and she'd lost her husband 6 months or so prior. And she said, "Oh yeah, he comes around nearly every night. He comes around." And I said, "Oh, okay. And does it scare you?" She goes, "Oh no." She goes, "I love it when he's here. I really do miss him." And she was quite emotional. And she said, "Oh, he comes." I said, "How do you know he's here?" She goes, "Oh, I know he always comes in through the window." And I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "How do you come to that conclusion?" And she said, "Well, because the curtains move, so I know he's there and he's coming through." I said, "Oh, okay." She goes, "And then he'll walk up past the cupboard and the cupboard doors open and they rattle a bit." I said, "Right, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll do a couple of experiments. We'll have a look, um, and yeah, we'll see what we can find out." So I had a suitcase full of gadgets with me, as we call them, but I didn't use any of them. I wanted to look the obvious first, so I went over to the window. Now the window was open probably a couple of centimeters, and you couldn't budge it. It was locked. It was wedged. It wasn't fully open or closed. It just had a little bit there. So any little breeze would move the curtain. And lo and behold, that's what happened. It moved the curtain while I was there. Oh, okay. And she goes, "Oh, he's coming in now. I'm sure he is." I said, "Okay, okay. Well, we'll keep going. We'll keep investigating." And then she goes, "He'll be over at the cupboard soon." So I walked over to where the wardrobe was, and the door started moving a little bit. Now I put that down to the pressure in the room was changing, so it was opening and closing the doors. Now, and I said to this lady, "So you say it's your husband?" She goes, "Oh, I love it when he's here. I really do." And I said, "Okay, so you feel great comfort him being here?" She goes, "Yeah, yeah." So she goes, "So what do you think? Is he here?" Now, as an investigator, you like to be honest and truthful, but there are times you you can't be. I didn't want to break this woman's heart. I really didn't. She got great comfort in believing her husband was visiting
I
her.
know.
So she asked me my thoughts, and I said, "Do you believe he's coming to visit you?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, leave it at that. I think he is too." And she had a big smile on her face, and she said, "Thank you for I really wanted to know that." But when you break it down, I didn't have the right to say to this lady, "Sorry, love, it's wind blowing," and that sort of thing. So yeah, sometimes you
Yeah.
just got to bend the rules a bit.
Yes, you don't want to hurt them. And I mean, that's the other thing. That happened once at we had a spirit in the very early days, had a case somewhere, I can't remember where. And the lady was very clearly mentally ill. And, she was on a lot of medication, going through a stressful divorce with a violent man, physically violent as well. So, and she was medicated heavily, and yeah, she saw lights and things, and it just breaks your heart. We couldn't tell her really. You can't. Sometimes it feels cruel.
Yeah,
It really
and
does.
that's the thing. Sometimes
And
you do.
values are
You just
something
you've
well,
just got to be.
they shape these things.
you've got to be, sentimental to these people. That's their world. That's all. That's what she lived for. The fact that her husband was visiting her. So I got no
Yeah,
right to turn around and say no, he's not. So
yeah,
again, being investigative, always being thorough, always being honest and truthful. But sometimes you just got to break the rules, and unfortunately, that was one of those times. So yeah,
yeah.
so don't judge me, please. Whatever you do, don't judge me. But
No, it's better
that's
to be
what I
cruel,
did.
better to be kind rather than cruel. I think, because you don't want to crush people's hopes. And I mean, I'm, I'm, I wouldn't want to either if I were in your situation, and I have been in that. And yeah, it's 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 our values, assumptions, beliefs, expectations, as my friend Greg calls them. Yes, that they shape our paranormal experiences. Our need for grief, as Brandon wrote in the ghost studies. Our need for comfort when we're grieving can shape them as well. And it's a really hard thing to kill somebody's hopes.
Yeah.
Now, present day experiments and reading lists too as well. Now, overseas, been anywhere overseas first?
I've been to a lot of places overseas, to be honest with you.
All right.
I've been fortunate enough to travel, but yeah, I can barely hear you, Kat. I'm not sure if it's me or you, or
I think it's internet issues again. It's the internet.
I can
It's
hear you,
the
but you sound like you're miles away.
it's the
I thought it was
internet.
my headphones. I've just turned them off and on, but
No,
let
it's
me have
the
a look.
internet. It's the internet. It's the signals. The internet. The internet.
Okay.
Yeah. We're having problems with that at the moment. But yeah, go ahead. I can hear you just fine. Everyone else can hear you too. So do go ahead. Tell us about everything, because I want to hear too. I haven't heard everywhere you've been to overseas yet. So go ahead. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Um, I've lost you, I think. Let me find. Hang on. Aha, I'm back. Um, yeah. So, you want to know where I've been overseas, places that I've visited and seen, and all that sort of stuff that paranormal wise, I guess. Um, yeah. Look, I've been over to one of my favourite places. I went to Ireland. I've got family in Ireland, and we visited a place called Cashel, which is in Tipperary, County Cork area. And there's an old castle built on top of the hill. They call it the Rock of Cashel, it's called.
Yes.
I think Slime's had a few too many. He fell off the bench. So, God, he's crazy. He's a nut. Anyway, getting back to the short story, not the long version. Yeah, I visited the Rock of Cashel, and it goes back many, many centuries. And again, when you talk of something that's built in the 1600s, it's hard to comprehend. We don't have anything here that's remotely that old. So you sit there, it's mind-boggling. You think, well, this place has been here longer than I could even conceive. So, but yeah, that was one place that I went to and visited. Again, it's a tourist thing, but at the same time, it's awe-inspiring to see. And across from there, there's an old abbey in the middle of a field, like the middle of a farmer's field. There's ruins of an old abbey. Um, and I was privileged enough to walk through there. And public are not allowed access there; it's on private. I managed to talk to the owner, and they said, "Yeah, yeah, feel free, come in, have a walk around, do what you like." You're just sitting there doing nothing, falling down, rotting away, and that was built around the same time. Um, and also in the same town, I came across a house. There was a little house. It was an old wattle and daub house. I'm not sure if you guys know what wattle and daub is, but um, and there was a plaque out the front of it, and on there, that house was built in 1060 something, 65, 66. I'm not sure the exact date now, but that's when it was built. And you think, hang on, that's nearly 1,000 years old.
That'd be
That's hard to even. register in my tiny brain, but there's a house that's still there.
That
So,
would just awe-inspiring.
yeah, you
Now,
talk about things being old. Oh, geez, I thought I was old.
now England, anywhere in England.
Oh, I've been to plenty of places all over England. Yeah, there's. Where do I start?
You
I'll tell
went
you
to
what is good.
you went to Whitby
It's
Abbey.
over commercialised, but it's also underestimated, and that's the Tower of London. Believe it or not, the Tower of London. Yeah, it's very, very commercial, and there's lots of stories, lots of hype. But again, I'm big on feeling, listening and feeling. And I tell you what, there certainly is an air about the Tower of London. And it's not just because of the story. We all know the stories, King Henry VIII and his wives and hung people and
Yes,
had their
so the
heads chopped off and
princes that
whatnot
got
there.
killed by their uncle or something, and the poor little
What's
buggers.
that?
The two princes that got killed by their uncle as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They were locked away, and I think one of them was set to be heir to the throne.
Yeah.
And their uncle decided, no, he wanted it, so he had them killed, which is, yeah. But look, there are lots of stories associated with it, but again, you feel it when you're there. You feel that energy. I don't know. For me, it's hard to put a finger on. I can't measure the energy that I'm feeling, but it's real. It's what I was talking about before. Your perception is reality to for most people. They've got their own perception, and it's their reality, and that generally is the case. So, yeah, that was another place I'd been to. I'd been through some of the older cities of London. I visited some areas near the museum where they've got burial sites going back to Middle Ages. So they're very, very old, and they're preserved. And there's you look in the museum, the London Museum. There's some pretty spectacular things in there too. Again, it's very commercial, but it is worth seeing. It's an eye opener. It gives you an idea on history and all that sort of thing. So yeah, having said that, I've travelled extensively through England. Too many places to even begin to mention. Up to Scotland, I've been up to Scotland as well. Across the island, Ireland's fantastic. It's probably one of my favourite places, actually, Ireland.
Yeah, that's
And
gorgeous.
yeah, I've done the American thing, and yeah, the list goes on and on. Every country you go to has always got a story to tell. Always got ghost stories, and as I say, I love listening to ghost stories. I don't
Now, where
dismiss
have
them
you
by
been
any
to
means,
in
but they're just good to hear. You get a fair bit of insight.
Where have you been to in America?
Where have I been to in America? Not many places, actually. The only place that we were at was in Denver, in Colorado. So we stayed there, not for very long. But yeah, I haven't been fortunate enough to travel all of America. But one day I'd love to go there, and I'd love to go and visit some of the older places. I'd love to go to, I can't think of the name of it now. Not Pittsburgh. Anyway, there's quite, where the Civil War took place. Gettysburg.
Pennsylvania?
That's
Is
one
it
place I'd love to
Pennsylvania?
go. Again, I know it's commercial and it's all hyped up, but I'm sure there's a lot of stories that can be told there. And people say talk about hearing guns and cannons going off and bugles being in the middle of the night in open areas. So not everyone can, surely there's something going on.
Yes. Now, experiments. That was the other thing I wanted to ask about. Current experiments and researchers. The serious
Current
ones.
experiments now.
Podcasts.
I
Research
think you and I have
experiments.
discussed at length some different experiments. I think you're going to do some as well, which are
I am
remote viewing,
very
but remote
ideas.
viewing using people, not just
Yes.
cards and things like that. So,
Yes.
it's probably more. Look, it's more your thing. You're the one I spoke to you about. You were going to run it, but yeah, doing experiments with people, doing remote viewing, doing sensory deprivation. That's the word I'm looking for. It's getting too late now. I don't know why I'm
It
tired,
is.
but yeah,
We're
it's sensory
only got
deprivation.
20 minutes to go now, anyways.
or in the home stretch. So your sensory deprivation, if you take away people's senses of sight and sound, and pretty much not everything, you've got to give them something because they've got to be able to touch and whatever else. But and you take them to a location, they're blindfolded, they can't hear anything, and you get them to describe their surroundings. Yeah, they don't know where they are. They can't hear nothing. They can't see nothing. Sure, they can smell things. So if you put them near the beach, it's going to be obvious. But you can't block their nose. They've got to be able to breathe as well. But you just take them to somewhere, wherever, it doesn't matter where it is, and you get them to describe their surroundings and see how that works. Because again, that's your mind at work there. You're using some form of visual telepathy, I think, or whatever it is you're using. So
Yes.
again, doing experiments and measuring that. How many times did that person get things right? What did they get right? And then you change the variables or in the experiment. So again, there's lots of experiments that go on all the time, currently going on.
Now, interaction with discarnate energies in experiments. For instance, this place is haunted. Do you think there's a possibility? Hang on, I'll type a question. 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, 1 second.
I can barely hear you, but I can hear you.
It's okay. Give me 1 second. Where's the damn question mark gone? I can't find the question mark now. I'm tired. There it is. No, it's okay. I'll just hit enter.
Possibility of discarnate energy at play during experiments in haunted locations. Right. What is the possibility? Well, the only way to find that out is to experiment, and that's what it's all about. As I said to you before, it's all about experimenting. So, discarnate energy in haunted places. So, how would you propose an experiment? If you were going to do an experiment in a presumed haunted location, what would it be? You tell me. What would you do?
Taste or smell?
Yeah, taste and smell are one, definitely. Yeah, I would definitely take.
Or remote viewing. Remote
Remote viewing is a good one. Not if you're going to do that, then you would again use sensory deprivation. So you would cut off the obvious, the sight and sound. That's cut off the obvious, and go with touch, with taste, and with smell. So you go to a haunted location, get
Yes.
get the person to give you an idea of where they believe they are, what they think is around. And look, another one that I've done before is talking about energies and things like that. So I did this with Anthony, and it worked a treat, I must admit. And it sort of made me not so much a believer, but it opened my eyes to things. And that was, we did an experiment. We sat someone in a chair, and Anthony stood behind that person, right? And they were blindfolded, and they couldn't see or anything else. And when I gave a signal, I'd ask Anthony to move either left or right or stationary. We had our little signals for that. And then I would ask that person where they think Anthony is.
Yes.
Now, he would do this, had soft shoes on, very, very quiet, no noise. And someone would say, oh, he's moved to my left. I'd say, okay. And he had moved to the left. And then I said, okay, we're going to do another one. where is he now? And they go, oh, he's off to my right, for example. Sure enough, he was off to the right. And I said, we'll do another one. And I gave Anthony a nod, and I said, just stay where you are, don't move, stay where you are. So he stayed where he was. And I remember this lady saying to me, she goes, I'm trying to lock onto his energy. I said, okay, do that, lock onto his energy. And she said, he's on my left. I said, right. And what makes you think
Yes.
that? She goes, because I have absolutely locked on to an energy, I can feel it, and it must be Anthony. And I said, well, if you take your blindfold off and have a look around, you'll see Anthony standing behind you. He's not off to the left. And she goes, but there's an energy there. I said, so describe it to me. What is that energy? And then she
Yes.
was thinking, and she was actually describing a person, but it wasn't Anthony. And we were looking at her, and Anthony said to us, so now what you're doing is you are viewing, well, I call it remotely, but he was calling it viewing through your third eye. So you're seeing an energy that's not me, it's something else, and you're looking and you're seeing a person, and she's describing that person. So to me, that was a pretty good experiment. It didn't. I couldn't see what she was seeing. Again, it's that perceptional thing, but she'd locked onto an energy that wasn't his, and which then begs the question: so what is it? What is it with energy? How come some people can lock onto energy or focus in on one, and others can't? Or can we all do it and don't realise? So again, it's a discarnate sort of energy that's there, and it's at play. So that was one experiment too. I mean, look, there are others that we can do too. I think I've told you about the lemon experiment. Have you heard that one that we've done with the lemon?
Yes. Tell everyone.
Yeah, that's another experiment. We talk about physical reactions. Some people have physical reactions when they see spirit and everything else, which is fine, and if that's what they do. But then when we do the lemon experiment, that's simply getting people to close your eyes, blindfold them, whatever, hold their hand out. Now, just imagine you're holding a lemon. So they do that, and you go, okay, so let's walk through. You're holding this lemon. What does it feel like? They describe the feeling of this lemon. The skin's smooth. It's a bit sort of wrinkly here and there, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd say to them, what does it smell like? And, they'll say, but don't be frightened. Hold it up to your nose. Smell that. What does it smell like? And they're describing the smell and everything else. So, which is all good. And then I said, now just imagine that you've cut that lemon in half and all the juices are there, and you pick that lemon up and you squeeze that lemon so the juice goes into your mouth. What happens? And all of a sudden they're finding that their mouths are watering like there's no tomorrow.
Yes.
And I said, okay, so you're having a reaction to something right now. And they're like, yeah. I said, but there's nothing there, but you're reacting to it. They're like, what do you mean? Well, open your eyes, have a look. There's no lemon in your hand. I've just told you there was a lemon there. And they've gone through this whole experiment, and their bodies are, again, physically reacting to something isn't there. So, again, it's an experiment. You go, okay, if that's the case, then I don't know, maybe there are some of those people that do have reactions to things that aren't there, things that I don't see, for example, and they're reacting too. So it's a big mysterious world, this one. We just don't know how deep and infinite the whole paranormal realm is when you look at it. So there's more to it than what we know. Candles, envelopes, and that sort of thing. Look, that's up for conjecture, I guess. Candles, I mean, anything can set candles aflutter. I guess it doesn't take much to have a pressure change in a room in order to make a candle either grow and flicker and that sort of thing. Yeah, so and envelopes, as in if you're writing something down, putting it in an envelope, and you're getting somebody to explain to you what it is. Again, if you're using science, you need numbers. That experiment there may take thousands of times before somebody, I'll call guesses what it is. Yeah. Reading. What about? Look, I've got too many books, to be honest with you. I've got a whole basically library full of books to do with paranormal and events and things like that. Some of the great authors too, the older ones. Podcasts, yeah, I've done quite a lot of podcasts over the journey. I've done podcast. Well, Chronicles X, the new Chronicles X is basically One Giant Podcast. We did like 12, 13, 4, I can't remember, a lot of episodes. But it's a podcast. So each episode, when we're doing a podcast, it relates to that particular episode. So you'll see us in podcast doing what we do, but you'll see flashes of that particular location that we were at. And again, Chronicles X, the new one, it's not all about ghosts and spirits and things like that. It's a wide variety of things. So, we talk about, we do talk about spirits and ghosts. We do talk about Indigenous things, and we talk about, we visit wineries and all that sort of stuff. It's an unusual mix. I'll give it that.
Good. Now, 1 second.
All good. Are there any podcasts I listen to? Not really. Some of them are good. I have listened to a couple. I can't remember what they are. That's how often I listen to them. Some of them are very informative, but again, sometimes podcasts can be dull. You're just sort of going through the same old, and repeating the same old. But I don't have any favourites that I listen to, no. Although I have listened to Joe Rogan. I like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's pretty down to earth. Excuse me. So, if I had to pick one, it'd probably be his. What else have we got? Paranormal docos. Oh, that's a good one. Look, I'm a big YouTube fan. I love being entertained, and I do watch quite a lot of the paranormal shows on YouTube. Not for their scientific value, but because they're entertaining. And I'm human. I like to be entertained, and I do like watching quite a few of those. And same with paranormal docos. There's quite a few paranormal docos I've seen over the years, and they're entertaining, and that's exactly what they're there for, is to entertain you. And I do, I do watch the Foreman Brothers on YouTube, and I do watch Mindseed TV, and then I don't look at them as being really informative and right up there, but they're entertaining, and that's what I'm there for, to watch something entertaining.
Now, we've got 10 minutes to go, Gaz, so plug yourself. Current work, any podcast currently, YouTube channel?
No, we've only got Chronicles X at the moment. Haunted Australia's done and dusted. That's been gone now, so you can probably find that on DVD or on some form of download somewhere if you want to watch that. Chronicles X, the first one, that'll be on YouTube somewhere. I'll get a link. I'll send that to you if you want to put that on your Facebook page or anything like that. You're more than welcome to. Chronicles X through the Golden Plains Shire. We've wrapped that up. As I said, we finished filming. It's in edit at the moment. Don't know when it'll be out. I don't think it'll be too far away. So stay tuned. But for me, I don't need to plug me. I'm just an old hack that gets out about every now and again, and yeah, that's it. I don't do a lot of investigations anymore as much as I used to. I try to get out where I can, but it's not my main focal at the moment. My main focus point.
Understandable. Now, we should wrap things up, but thank you so much for everything, Gaz. My sensei.
No, look, you're welcome. And look, anybody, if I can help anybody in any way, all they got to do is get in contact with yourself. I'm sure you can throw questions my way, or if people want to have a chat about anything, they're more than welcome to give me a buzz. I'm sure, Kat, that you'll talk to them, some of your fans and stuff. So, look, it's been great talking with all of you guys and you, Kat, but, you're only just touching the tip of the iceberg. I could talk for hours, as you know, but we won't go there. We'll just leave that. You've got more exciting guests coming up than me. Let me tell you, I've seen that list. It's pretty impressive.
Thank you. I can't believe I pulled it off. I'm actually really stunned.
No, you've done a great job. You've got a good lineup there. So I'll be looking forward. I'll be tuning in. Don't you worry about that. I want to hear what your other guests have got. Good mix, very good mix. I'm just the old guy that pushed you over to the dark side. We're still running. We're still live. We've got a few minutes left.
Still live. We're still live. I'm just typing a question because I don't know if anyone can hear me still.
I can hear you, but it's very faint.
Yes. Now, 5 more minutes to go.
5 minutes to go. What do I do in 5 minutes? I can't do much in 5 minutes.
It's all good. Go and see Marie. Pat the dog. Pat the dog.
No, the dog will bite me if I did that.
Oh.
It's Marie's dog.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I don't get.
Thank you so much, Gaz.
Anytime. You know that I'm always around, always a phone call away. Happy to chat anytime.
Thank you so much, Gaz. And I'm hoping to do a panel at the end too, so everyone can talk about their favorite topics that have been discussed or their favorite questions or what they've learned, because I'm sure we've all got a heap to learn. Well, most of us have.
Yeah, absolutely we have. We don't have all the answers. So you never do stop learning.
We could get our Aussies in and, show the world what we can do here.
Of course, yeah. We're not that far behind, We are pretty much up there. We got some good names in this country.
We're getting there. You're one of them.
No, I'm not one of them. There are a lot more celebrated people than me out there. That's for sure.
No, I don't know. But you've always been my sensei, and it's been my honor to be your grasshopper. And thank you so much, Gaz. And I will go because I've got to pee again.
All right, you better go then. Better get out of here.
Yes.
Look, it's been great fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And if any of the listeners have got anything out of it, that's a positive. If they haven't, I'm really sorry, but sometimes I'm a bit boring. All right, I'll let you go and tend to nature, and I'll bugger off and pick up Slimer. He's lying on the floor. He passed out.
Did he have some of your Bundy?
I think he minded it. I think he was into it. Yeah, he definitely did, because there's a couple of cans missing.
Fancy that.
Now,
good night, guys. Tons of love and hugs, and I'll talk to you real soon, very soon. So good night, Gaz. Good night, everybody.
All right.
We will leave the studio right now. Good night. Adios.
Cheers. Bye.
Trails. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
I can leave this.